Hi, I'm reading you a letter in the way of the order of which they happen so that I won't forget the order. This is a very serious story. My name is Amanda, and I heard the story about the bus monitor and how much money she received, and I wanted to start a campaign for my father. I hope you will listen to the whole video to know the whole story. This is a true story about my father, and everything I'm going to say can be proven with over 200 emails and bank statements and letters from his doctor. If this story doesn't touch your heart, then there's something wrong with the world. My dad truly believes that this person was going to give him his money back after all that he had done for him. It was a friend of his. I pray that you can raise the same. 17 years ago, my father became friends with new neighbors. Her husband traveled a lot, and so my dad did all kinds of work for her at no charge. She then remarried, and my dad became close friends with her new husband. Neither of them worked, but her husband knew how to make money. My dad still did work for them for free. He did over $5,000 of work for them. That's how my dad was. He liked to help others. Then in 2003, my dad was put out of work with COPD and other medical conditions. He was given 1 to 5 years to live. It takes all his disability check just to pay his bills. So he asked his friend how to make money so that when he was gone, my mother wouldn't lose everything. My dad told him he couldn't afford to lose any money, and his friend told him no problem. Then my dad loaned him $6,000, and his friend told him that my dad would make $2,000 plus get the $6,000 back. He then had a friend with Mortgage One and had dad open an equity line of credit. My dad then loaned him $5,000 to start a company and was told he would get it back. Then my dad heard about EcoQuest, and he and my dad signed up to sell the machines for EcoQuest. They became partners to sell them. My dad paid $2,550 for these machines. He then took 3 of them, and my dad told my dad that he would pay for them. His friend then wrote a check to cash for $45,000, which my dad loaned him and signed it. His friend said that he would get $3,000 a month and also get the $45,000 back. And his friend went home then and changed the check from cash to his wife's name and put it in her account. He then wrote checks in different amounts totaling $5,000, which my dad signed and loaned to him. He told him that he would get the money back. And then he opened 2 credit cards in my dad's name somehow without his permission. He sent one to a man in Vegas to charge on, and he charged on the other. He said my dad would get the money back. Again. When the bill came, my dad gave it to him. Then my dad got a letter saying that he went over the limit. That's when my dad found out he was paying bills with my dad's card. Somehow he was drawing money from my dad's equity line and putting it on another credit card my dad has. He let a doctor from Tennessee charge on my dad's credit card, and the doctor would send him money. He did several others' credit cards, and then he took $35,000 from the doctor. I know this because my dad has his number from the statement. He didn't know that it was my dad's credit card, and he also went online and filled out an application for $125,000, somehow without my dad's permission, but it did not go through for the doctor to get the money, and he also took money from the doctor. He took my dad's equity line to the limit of $80,000, and after a year, my dad told him that he couldn't make the payments because he has his own bills to pay. This is only the interest on the equity and the 4 credit cards. He said he would give my dad $1,400 a month to pay the interest only until he could pay back the full amount. His wife wrote my dad a check, 5 checks for $1,400, and then all the payments stopped. And that's when we knew that he was lying about paying my dad back. Later on, he wrote my dad a check for $7,000 to make up for the months missed. My dad tried to cash it 3 times, but there was no money in the account, and his friend knew that. He's smart, and he knows lots of people, and he's taken money from we don't know how many. He owes my dad $180,000, and he probably will not ever get it back. Plus, my dad spent $15,000 of his own money just to pay the interest. This man makes up false email addresses and false companies. Some of the emails are real, and the people he takes money from don't know how to get in touch with him. All they have is his email address. He deals with people out of state, so he can't be traced back to anything. All the money goes directly to him. He's lied to the authorities 3 times. But the authorities are doing nothing. They say that my dad is the only one who filed a complaint against him, And that's just because we know him and the others can't get a hold of him. They have, our neighbors have plenty of money. They take their daughter across town all the way to a private school. They belong to the YMCA or a pool. His wife is part owner in the family business. They go where they want, and they have plenty of money to spend. So why did he have to steal all that money from my dad after all he did for them? You be the judge. My dad takes care of his father-in-law who lives with him, as he can no longer take care of himself. My dad doesn't leave the house except to go to the doctor or the drugstore. So thank you for listening.